We're going to be doing a cut paper print. Now, a cut paper print is just that. We're going to use paper that we cut and print, but it's much more because you can actually print all kinds of things. You can print lace, you can go outside and pick a piece of foliage that might work, or grasses, string is great. I love string. There's just a lot of different things that you can come up with that you can print. So to get started, here are the things that you're going to need. Now for traditional printing, we're going to need some ink, we're going to need a brayer, we're going to need some glycerin, we're going to need some tape, we're going to need some construction paper, works great for the cut paper part of it. And then you're going to need paper that you can use to print. Always have a piece of paper towel because this is kind of a messy process. Now, plexiglass is going to be your best bet. If you have plexiglass, you can roll the ink directly on the plexiglass and then go from there, and it cleans up really nicely. I don't have plexiglass here at the house, so what I'm going to be doing is cutting directly to my Formica, which I don't suggest you do because Mom might not be too happy about that. So, those are the supplies. To get started, I have marked off a spot where I would like to put my ink. And the reason is I don't want to get too big because I don't want that ink to be bigger than the paper that I have. To print, I actually have paper that's about 12 by 18. And this will fit nicely over that area and work really well. To get started, I have already taped off a perimeter for where I want to put the ink. And the first thing I'm going to do is roll out my ink. Now, I want this ink to stay sort of tacky and fluid, a little bit fluid, and not dry so fast. So I'm going to add 1 drop and 1 drop only of glycerin. This is water-soluble ink. That's the reason why I'm doing that. There's 1 drop. I didn't squirt out a whole lot, but I'm going to mix that totally and completely. And you want a trash can ready so that you can throw this away when you're done and not make a mess. To roll this out, I'm going to work the ink until it is fairly consistent. Perfect. Now, if you're working with plexiglass, my suggestion is that you use a little glass cleaner and clean it first so that it can pick up any dust that might be on there. Fingerprints. Fingerprints will repel the ink and make it so that you won't have as good of a print. The next thing I'm going to do is take my construction paper, and I can, any color, it doesn't matter. I like construction paper for the paper part of it because it's a little porous, so it has its own little texture. They make a texture, or they used to make a texturized cardstock that was really cool, and you could get some really cool things out of that. I can cut the paper, I can tear the paper, so, doesn't matter. Place it on there. I can use some lace, so I'm going to use a little lace just to see what happens. And I went outside and picked a flower. Of course, it's winter time, but the flowers are starting to come out here in Texas, so yeah. And then I'm going to place my paper over there and then really rub. And you don't want this paper to shift on you, so if you need to tape it down first, great. I'm just going to hold it in place, and I am going to rub. If you have a printing press, this works so much better. Unfortunately, I'm at home. Alright, when I think I've rubbed enough, you can test it by peeling off one corner and just seeing what happens. Okay? Get these corners just a little bit better on those edges. And all I'm going to get is silhouettes. I'm just going to get a silhouette to begin with. There it is. The true magic with these prints is what happens when you do the shadow print. So now what I'm going to do is lift these things out of the way and rearrange them. Now, if you are an artist, what happened to my... If you are a true artist, you will pay more attention to composition than I am. I'm just demonstrating a technique. I'm going to peel that away. Peel this one away. And I'm just pulling that up for right now. And if you'll notice, it's got ink on that side. And that's what I want. And then I'm going to take the lace. And I may not use all of this lace. Let's just do one lace that goes across here, like so, just because. I'm going to take these guys and put them on. Yep. And maybe this one over here. And I have my and I'm going to take a second sheet of paper. Second sheet of paper, place it down, and rub the heck out of it. Oh, yeah. Check that out. Cool, pretty nifty keen. Now, what's even funner, you like that word? Not a word. Don't go tell your English teacher that your art teacher just said that. What is more fun, I'm going to take these things off. I'm going to try and print it one more time. And if I wanted to, I could even scrape into this and see what happens and play with it. You know, it's just all about experimenting, right? So, and rub. Now, what can we do with these things? There are so many things you can do that I'm going to share with you a couple of pieces that were done by students where they utilized these cut paper prints in another piece of artwork where they did some colored pencil. You can go back into these shadow prints and use your colored pencil and pull some things out. You can cut them up and use them in collages, maybe some abstracts. And voila. And there you have it. So, cut paper prints. I hope you enjoy. This is our opportunity to experiment. We're going to try an alternative method to using the printing ink. So I have cut a shape out of construction paper, so I'm ready. And I'm not going to do a full composition with this method, but I will share with you whether or not it works. So let's see. We'll be experimenting together. I went and bought a darker color of cattle marker than the one that I used for the line print to show you. I had to go to a co-op to get it, but this particular brand has a film on it, just like the oil sticks that you have to remove. To remove it, it's going to be really pretty easy. I'm going to have a scrap piece of paper here ready. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and very gently take the top skin layer off, and you can see it there. It just kind of peels till I get the gooey stuff, right? Always cut away from you. Just using another sheet of paper here as my printing surface. And I'm going to rub the area that I want to print. Now you have to get it totally coated for this to work well. And it may be an experiment on your part to see if it will work with things other than the paper, like we showed you previously. I'm going to place my shape, place it over the surface, and rub really, really hard. It might be in your best interest to tape that down. You if you don't have enough strength in your hand, you can get a really smooth rock and rub with the rock, and that would probably work just as well, right? All right, and peel that off. And it gave me the negative and the positive, which is good, right? But we want to, and you might need the X-Acto knife for this. I'm going to come through and very gently put that out of the way and place that back down. Take my other sheet of paper and I'm going to rub really hard. Now this is the part that I'm not really sure if it's going to work or not. We'll see. Don't you love experimenting together? I do. We'll see. Oh, fun. It didn't work quite as well as ink, but it did work. And it gave me some really cool textures. When that dries, I could cut it up and use it in a collage. Again, I can go back into it and do some other work with it. There's all kinds of possibilities.